Do you understand the difference?
Yes.
Can you tell me what deontological ethics is?
I could, but I don't fucking feel like it. Why? Oh, look! The little fuckboy actually joined!
What's
Congratulations, you figured it out!
Holy shit, could you not deep throat your mic?
I don't have a microphone, it's in my laptop, I'm nowhere near it.
Could you not deep throat your laptop?
The laptop's on the table? I'm sorry, I don't shove shit up my ass like you do.
No, you just shove it down your throat. And that's what I'm asking you to stop doing so you can stop blowing out my speakers. Damn.
Nah. I'll do it even more since you don't fucking like it.
Okay, you sound about 15. Would you like to tell me exactly what it is that I said that gave you the impression that I was saying that's not what I'm saying at all?
You literally fucking said it last night, and you reworded it and said it again this morning.
You said I dismissed Weibo's point by responding, that's not what I said at all.
Yes! If you let me fucking finish and stop interrupting like an insignificant little cunt,
okay.
I'll get to it.
Listen. Let's calm down, buddy. Why are you mad?
I'm not mad. I just don't fucking like you.
Okay, that's fine. It's alright. Calm down. I'm just wondering, what about what my response to Weibo was, that's not what I'm saying at all?
Okay, why don't I scroll up and actually fucking read it to you, and maybe you can figure it out. You know, reading comprehension seems to be not to be your strong suit.
Still waiting on an answer.
Well, if you'd shut the fuck up and quit being a sniveling little cunt, I'll get to it. Or are you incapable of doing that?
You sound upsetty spaghetti, dude. You okay?
No, I'm eating spaghetti, but thank you for recognizing.
Oh, I thought you were eating your mic. Okay, what's up?
No, I'm eating your girlfriend's box, but I'll get to that later.
Okay. So what's up, dude? Can you answer the question yet?
Yeah. Constantly saying, I get that distinction, but I'm saying X. That's dismissing. That's not, like, okay, I get what you're saying, but I'm really trying to say this. That's dismissing. You're not addressing fucking anything.
Hang on. What was I saying I'm really trying to say? What was I really trying to say there?
You're really trying to make a false fucking argument off of an experiment you apparently didn't know jack shit about until you first started fucking mentioning it. Like that one guy that come in was like, oh yeah, by the way, that's not the actual fucking thought experiment you're trying to provoke.
Cool. So I'm asking, in my response to Weibo, you said, I get that distinction, but I don't see anywhere where I say anything like that. I said, I get the distinction. That's the same answer Eve gave. The difference is based on your own ethical framework, consequentialist versus deontological ethics. Of course, there is no perfect scenario that maps on. The point of the violinist was to get that situation as close as possible to pregnancy. Now, what about that?
Which you didn't do.
Okay, cool. What about that answer said, but that's not what I'm saying at all?
The entire fucking thing is a misdirection. You didn't
the entire
actually address
thing
anything
is a misdirection?
as we've said.
How is the entire thing a misdirection?
Single fucking thing to be like, okay, I get what you're saying,
listen,
but
buddy.
I'm trying to make up this hypothetical thing off of a fucking experiment that I didn't fully fucking use in the first place.
How is the entire thing I said a misdirection?
I'm not gonna sit here and break down it directly to the fucking point.
Why not? It seems like you're just talking shit, like you don't actually know. Actually, can you tell?
Oh, I'm talking shit like you do all the fucking time.
I actually didn't say shit to you before you started shit talking me, dog. But let's take this point by point.
Actually, you have.
Hang on.
This is why I don't fucking like you.
Okay, well, I'm sorry I hurt your feelings before. Let's take this point by point, all right? I get the distinction.
No, you just showed you a significant little cunt.
Listen. Let's take this point by point, right? You can substantiate what you're saying, right? Let's point by point. I get the distinction. That's me telling Weibo I understand what she's saying, right? That's the same answer Eve gave. I'm saying that Weibo was saying the same thing Eve said earlier. Which, by the way, I told Eve was actually the strongest point anybody's made.
Which it wasn't.
Okay, it was to me. That's irrelevant. The difference is based on your own. Okay, the difference is based on your own ethical framework. Now, can you tell me what about that was dismissing her viewpoint?
You dismissed it as saying the exact same thing that somebody else said, which it wasn't. We elaborated more. You only touched on the basis. Of concepts that she brought up.
Holy shit. Do you understand the difference?
Yes.
Can you tell me what deontological ethics is?
I could, but I don't fucking feel like it. Why?
Okay, come on, buddy. Please. Tell me what deontological... Okay, dog, homie, whatever. Tell me what deontological ethics is, please. Humor me, just so I know we're talking on the same level here.
I'm not gonna fucking humor you.
Okay, and when I said, of
That
course...
would require some base level of fucking respect, which is not there.
Okay, that's fine. So when I say, of course, there is no perfect scenario that maps on, how is that dismissing Weibo's point? Can you tell me that? That seems to be acknowledging that there actually is a difference, and I agree with Weibo. Right? When I say, of course, there is no perfect scenario that maps on, I'm responding to Weibo saying there's differences between these two scenarios. Can you tell me how that's dismissing her?
That part is the only part that's not dismissive. But
well, I guess it's not the entire thing.
let
then.
me fucking finish.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Go for it, buddy.
SDA did the same thing before she started insulting you in the petty chat, and you just wrote her off as a vile cunt, being a bitch about it. No, she said the exact same fucking thing. You just didn't like it.
Can you sum up what SDA said for me, please?
No, I'll scroll up for you.
Why can't you just sum it up? If it's the same thing, you shouldn't have to scroll up, right? It should be the same thing Weibo said.
SDA just put it in the same way. Like, she elaborated completely differently.
No, SDA made a point that was irrelevant to the thought experiment. What SDA tried to say was that the difference is that you require physical nurturing for a child and you don't for somebody else who's in, comatose or something, right? There's no what's the word I'm looking for? There is no commitment, right, in the same way that of a person who needs a blood transfusion that they do with a child. But that you need nurturing wasn't the point at all. I never disagreed that at different stages of life you require different amounts of nurturing. And I never disagree that it's abuse or neglect to take that nurturing away. That wasn't the point. That wasn't irrelevant to what I was talking about. So why I dismissed SDA was because SDA was responding to something that nobody was arguing.
But it was a valid point, though.
It might be a valid point, but I wasn't
because
arguing
in your
it.
original question, there was no differentiation between comatose and brain dead, or just somebody who needed a blood transfusion that was still functioning, because that does happen.
So the original point of the thought experiment is to see what other scenarios exist where a person has to give their physical body and health to another person by state force. Right? That's the whole point of the thought experiment, is to see when else this happens. It might
Your
be
thought experiment, the actual violinist argument, violinist thought experiment is not
there's multiple versions of the violinist argument. I think if you talk to anybody who knows what the violinist argument is and present this argument, they'll understand it's the violinist argument. It's a famous thought experiment.
I don't know. This guy right here seems to kind of busted you out of the fucking water for not fully including it.
Well, no, the original essay included the scenario of kidnapping, right? But that doesn't mean there aren't other versions of it. It's a famous thought experiment. It's been picked to pieces. It's been changed. There's tons of different violinist arguments. I'm making a version of it. You do understand, you don't have to take the exact argument for it to be the essence of a violinist argument, right?
If you're going to call it that, then yes, you absolutely have to, or make up your own fucking name. It could be LSP's thought experiment.
Okay,
Okay,
well, so I don't hurt your guys' feelings. I'll say it's LSP's thought experiment. So in LSP's thought experiment, I was trying to see what the difference is between these scenarios where one person is committed by force, by state force, to nurture another life. I don't disagree with SDA that different stages of life you require different sorts of nurture. I don't disagree with that at all. I don't even necessarily disagree that you're killing a person if you take that nurture away. That wasn't the point, and that wasn't what I was arguing, right?
That depends.
You understand the difference?
Yeah, but also her argument depends. I mean, there's children who have been left in the wild on their own and become members of wolf packs and were perfectly fine.
Which, I mean, that might be fine. I've never disagreed with that. We were never arguing that. That was never the point. It's a total non sequitur. It had nothing to do with anything I was arguing. Right? Imagine if we start, debating gun laws, right? We're debating about the ethics of gun control, and you start talking about the incidents of bobsledding incidents that result in death. Which, that might be true. Bobsledding can be very dangerous. That's not relevant to gun control, is it?
Well, it depends. If you're talking about deaths related to firearms that aren't gang violence and or suicide, then you could bring in something like bobsledding and compare the numbers.
Bobsledding is a death related to firearms that isn't gang violence or suicide?
The entire statistic. Just, these are non-gang related and non-suicide related gun deaths. Let's compare it to other deaths doing recreational activities and see which one's higher. That could be plausible.
Sure. But I'm not even necessarily... Well, sure. But it's not really relevant to gun control, but that's fine.
Gun control's basis is to stop all the gun deaths. You could bring in other things that have a higher mortality rate, and you'd be like, really, but this is legal.
if you're talking about gun control and how the whole basis is to reduce gun deaths, and somebody starts bringing up cancer statistics to say more people die from cancer, so it's not really a big deal, it's not really relevant to the discussion, is it?
Apparently, you can't grasp the concept.
What am I missing? Is cancer deaths relevant to the discussion about gun control?
I didn't bring up cancer. I said recreational activity specifically.
Okay, well, we'll bring it bobsledding. Is bobsledding deaths really relevant to gun control?
Compared to accidental gun deaths or due to negligent discharging or deaths at a shooting range that were out of people's control, yes. Because I'm pretty sure it wouldn't be surprised if it was close, if not higher.
You think bobsledding deaths are closer, if not higher, to deaths by firearms?
I wouldn't be surprised. There's some really stupid.
We're gonna have to look this
really
up.
Stupid things. All right, cool. I have an actual thing on my phone for gun deaths compared to other deaths.
It's roughly 35,000 according to the CDC.
That's lower than I thought it would be.
It's 10,000 homicides plus 25,000 suicides, usually. The best I could find is a Wikipedia page listing the names of bobsledders killed while racing. And it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 names on it. 7 names.
That's about right.
Okay, so 7 people died bobsledding. And if you bring this up to
Racing,
say...
there's a distinction.
Sure, bobsledding while racing. And if you bring this up in an argument about gun control, your point is what?
Say that again, you cut out.
I'm saying that if you bring up bobsledding deaths in a discussion about gun control, what would your point be?
Depends on the context.
Okay, I agree.
That seems to be something you don't grasp a lot in conversation.
I agree. It depends on the context. SDA's point would also depend on the context. SDA could have made that argument any other discussion about abortion, and it'd have been valid. But we weren't talking about that. We weren't talking about the ethics of it. Right? We were trying to find out scenarios where this is comparable to that. We were looking for a specific thing.
She was trying to offer a scenario. That was what she was doing.
No, she was
one of the
trying
scenarios
to qualify.
that she brought up that come to mind was taking a parent away from a child and leaving the child on their own.
No, well,
it's an inverse of what you were arguing in the first place, but it's still a fucking scenario.
What she was trying to do was argue legal distinctions and the requirement for nurture or something. She was trying to qualify one of these, right? And it wasn't again, there's no disagreement here. I don't disagree that children need nurture. I don't disagree that it's neglect not to nurture children. Nor do I disagree that it's necessarily neglect to leave a person who's comatose or bleeding to death to bleed to death, right? These are all true and valid. That's not what the point is, though. Like this is what is really frustrating is none of you seem to understand this. We're not talking about whether or not it's murder to abort. We're not talking about whether a fetus is alive, right? These aren't relevant to the thought experiment. Like, for the sake of the argument, I grant it's all alive. Life begins at conception, and it's murder if you abort a fetus, right? So if we take that admission, right, from the outset, and we apply it to something else, like being attached to another person, like donating kidneys or a blood transfusion and then withdrawing that consent, does that change the scenario any? You understand now?
Yeah, I understand, but you can't, once you donate something, you can't, oh, never mind, I want that back, give it back. No, that's not how that works.
Which I understand. Like I said to Weibo, there is no perfect scenario that maps on. The point of the violinist was to get the situation as close as possible to pregnancy. That's all I was trying to do. I've given a lot of grounds and acknowledged all of these things.
The only situation you get close to it is experiments done by Unit 731 during World War II, where the Japanese would forcibly rape a Chinese woman by a soldier or man with STDs and force them to carry the baby to see what would happen to the woman and the baby after it was born. That's the only closest thing you're going to get to.
Okay, well then we can change this to a scenario about rape, but since few abortions are actually a result of rape, I don't want to venture into that territory, which is why I didn't apply the forced kidnapping part of the argument, because I don't want to deal with that, people narrowing it down to get out of the thought experiment that if it's rape, it's okay. I want to see if the principle applies even when it's not rape. That was the point.
I mean, you're asking for scenarios. Literally just asked for one. I gave you, like, the closest I could give you that actually fucking happened in history is that. Other than that, I have nothing for you.
Let's take that scenario. If that scenario is that women were raped with STDs, and should they be forced to carry out that pregnancy? Is that your scenario?
No, they were.
Okay, so
in China during World War II, the Japanese, as part of their experiments in Unit 731, would often gang rape women with men and or soldiers, it depends, who carried various STDs or the same one to see if she was impregnated, what it would do to her body and the infant's body upon birth.
Them Japs were some evil bastards. Let's talk about that scenario. Right. Okay, so a woman is raped, and this is essentially what it is. A woman is raped, and she becomes pregnant as a result of rape. Is it murder to get an abortion under that situation?
I would have to agree that abortion is murder at some point. And I have never actually stated my stance on abortion. Therefore, that's a little sticky stuff. Assuming I do admit that, then it would depend. Is the reason I think it's murder ethically? Is it religious, politically? Just in general?
You tell me. Which is it? The ball's in your court here. If a woman gets raped and she gets an abortion, is it murder?
If you want to take the base concept of murder, technically yes, but the argument can be made for no because it was something forced upon her, not that she consented to willingly.
Okay, so the base concept of murder, what does that mean? Tell me what the base concept of murder is.
Taking the life of another human being.
Okay.
If not murder, it could be considered manslaughter.
Okay, so if a woman gets an abortion as a result of rape, it is murder if not manslaughter. Is that your position?
For the sake of your question, yes. Is my actual stance no?
I'm genuinely... Your actual stance is no. I'm trying to figure out what your actual stance is. What is your actual stance here?
For me, like most people, I admit is religious. I'm pagan. We do not take part in abortions. In fact, my people would leave it out in the wilderness for like wolves and shit. That's what my ancestors would did. Honestly, if you didn't want a kid and you couldn't, like, hey, lady, you've always said you wanted a kid. You want this one? If she says no, then fuck it. I guess you can stick a knife in your belly and murder the fucking child if you want to.
Okay, so what you're saying is your people would leave a baby if it was undesired out in the wilderness to die. Is that correct?
Yeah, essentially, you'd leave it for the wolves.
What is the effective difference between that and abortion?
You carried it full to term. Religiously, it's not the same.
Sure.
In my religion,
I would argue that
it's not
once
the same implication.
Sure, I would argue that once it's full term, if you're leaving it to the elements to die, it's murder, right? Because it is a life, it is viable, and it is birthed. It checks off all the list of requirements we have for any other person. But if you abort it prior to its birth, arguably prior to viability, does that change anything?
You would have to. It would depend on what is your stance to the point of it. Is it no longer a fetus? Is it a child? Excuse me. That's the main argument. Anytime you bring up abortion, that you always ignore that I point out. It depends on what that particular person thinks is the beginning of life.
Sure, I agree. It's a matter of consequentialist ethics versus deontological ethics. If you believe that,
that's why I always bring up religion.
I don't know that religion deals with consequentialism versus deontology.
No, but religion plays a part in where most people believe life starts.
Okay, well, let me tell you my position and see if you disagree with it. I believe that prior to the point of viability, there is no reason to consider a fetus a life. Prior to that, it's non-viable. It's likely to die. It can't survive any of these things. Past the point of viability, I think there is a special interest in taking care of that life. It now has the full potential to survive outside the womb, and it should be nurtured as if it were any other life. That doesn't mean I want the state to ban women from getting abortions after viability, because I think in most situations, I would argue all situations, when women get abortions after viability, it's because maternal health is at risk or the baby has suffered a fetal abnormality that's going to kill it later on in its life anyway. Do you disagree with that position?
Yes.
What do you disagree about?
Well, for starters, I want to make a point that Steven Crowder uses, because he's one of those, life starts at conception people. I get their point. A lot of them, the ones who are smart enough to actually understand the concept of, from the moment of conception, there is a unique genetic code that will form into a human under natural circumstances. More than likely. I personally think it starts at the moment of a heartbeat, because that heartbeat is the distinguishing of an unalive human versus a dead one. That's just me personally.
Can you tell me how many weeks into development a heartbeat begins?
I haven't studied it, but I'm pretty sure it's 6 weeks. That's where most
between
states
3 and 6. Yeah, generally be between 3 and 6 weeks. Sure. Okay. I guess we'll just ask, how do you feel about the law in Alabama?
I think it's stupid. I honestly think it infringes upon the Constitution that we all should uphold and live by. And it's Alabama, so I'm not at all surprised that they religiously pass something as fucking asinine as that.
So I'm weirdly perplexed. Are you pro-choice then?
Pretty much, yeah. It goes back to my entire political beliefs of I don't give a fuck what you do as long as it doesn't affect me or mine. I'm not Democrat, Republican, Libertarian. I go by punk rock politics. Let me have my guns, legalize weed. I want booze and women to have the fucking ability to wear scantily clad clothes or none at all. Other than that, I don't give a fuck.
Okay, so just to be clear and go by what you were saying earlier, it is murder or arguably manslaughter, but you don't want the state to do anything about it?
You're taking out of context what I said. It's in the context of the thought experiment. I can understand why people say it is. Because if you go to the base definition of murder, it's taking the life of another person, intentionally taking the life of another person. Manslaughter is accidental, which,
well, you said
if it's a rape baby, like you brought up in your little hypothetical that you're taking out of context, then at the very most, if you want to uphold it to a legal standpoint and have abortion illegal, manslaughter.
Okay, I'm going by the definition you gave me. You said you basically believe that human life begins at the heartbeat, right? Was that not your position?
Personally, yes.
Okay, so then you must think it's murder, going by the base definition of murder, to abort a baby 6 weeks post, right? Anytime after 6 weeks, if there's an abortion, it's murder or manslaughter.
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't want the state to intervene with these murders or manslaughters?
Not in the way Alabama is.
Okay, how would you like the state to intervene in these murders and manslaughters then? Preferably anything after 6 weeks, you would need a really damn good reason, such as rape baby, incest baby. It could kill the mother if she has birth, if that's the reason she wants to abort. Because I know a lot of people who wouldn't. They would still have the child DNA to kill them, but personal experience doesn't count. And just in general, like, if the baby's going to die or be seriously deformed or fucked up, then if the parents want to abort, parents, plural, because the dad should have a say, it's half his kid too, if they're around. Okay, so if I'm understanding this, you want the state to intervene after 6 weeks if the baby is a product of rape or incest and there's a fetal abnormality or any of these other criteria you just listed. Is that fair to say?
Yes, but I also believe that if both parents are in the picture, should have a say.
Okay, so if the mother wants to get an abortion but the father doesn't want her to get an abortion, should they not get an abortion?
Pretty much, yeah. You should both agree on it. Like, it's if the father wants to actually be a father and have his kid, and you just go off and have an abortion, that's not only fucked up, but that can potentially fuck him up for a long time, and it's just not okay.
Can we flip these around? What if the father wants the mother to get an abortion and the mother wants to have the child?
Then the mother should have the child.
Okay.
Like, you both have to agree.
Oh.
I mean, you can't put a pregnancy on fucking pause.
Wait, no, they don't disagree.
It doesn't work like that.
They don't agree in either scenario, though. But I'm just curious why in one you go by the wishes of the father, and in the other you go by the wishes of the mother.
Because if you want to actually be a mother and actually be in the child's life, then you should have the right to. Even if if this guy's just a deadbeat, he's not gonna fucking be there. You know he's gonna split the moment the kid's born. At that point, his opinion's not fucking needed, or he's not there to begin with.
So let me
at that point, you have to.
Let's assume the father is a genuinely good person who would be there for the child. If the mother wants an abortion and the father doesn't want her to get an abortion, you're saying the mother should have to give birth to that baby anyway.
Possibly, yes.
And to reverse this, if the father wants the mother to get an abortion and the mother doesn't want to get to an abortion, you're saying we should go with what the mother says and give birth to that baby anyway, right?
If she wants the kid, yes. I mean, you can
how
also bring the
how do you reconcile this difference?
Should be a way to do it in court. Like, if they can't talk it out like an adult, which realistically, given the scenario, probably wouldn't happen anyways because they'd probably be teenagers or in their early 20s, which, being one, highly irrational, brains not fully developed, overly emotional, that's a given, or they're uneducated, you should be able to go to the court or a relative and be like, hey, how do we handle this? How should we? But the courts definitely should have a section dedicated to that, because it would just be more ethical that way. Instead of robbing one individual of their right to be a parent of something they've probably looked forward to their entire lives just because the other one didn't, in either scenario, it's fucked up.
Okay, so let's grant all this, right? The father wants the mother to have a child, and the mother doesn't, so the mother gets an abortion anyway. What should happen to the mother?
I'm not a lawyer, so legally I don't know what could you possibly get away with. I'm not going to be heavy-handed, like, oh, she should go to trial for murder. No. But there should be some legal ramification.
Well, why shouldn't she go to trial for murder if it is murder? You said after 6 weeks at fetal heartbeat, you would consider it murder, assuming there's no fetal abnormality, it's not a product of rape, right? So let's assume all that flies, right? All that's good. Why shouldn't she be on trial for murder?
Possibly could be. Like, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know what you could and could not legally do. I'm not. There's going to be this authoritarian, like, oh, every instance is no.
Well,
because arguably she could get in a car wreck and have a miscarriage, and somebody could be like, oh, she was negligent in her driving. It's murder. No, I'm
going like really far back into political philosophy, where John Rawls came up with something called a veil of ignorance, where you know nothing about your life and you have to invent the perfect society from scratch, right? So let's say God wipes out all governments in the world and he points you personally to be dictator of the world. Make me the policy that you want.
Ideally, I would have a court system developed to deal with this. So if one individual in the relationship doesn't want the kid and the other one does, that they could hash it out in the legal system. And if one disobeys the orders of the other, like the mother aborting the child against the father's wishes, that there should be a trial held to see, just and let it play out as the legal system would have it. If the judge and or jury decides it's murder, then it's murder. If not, then it's the legal system's dealing. And that no one individual should have the right to bar the other one from participating in a child's life pre or post birth without a very good fucking reason.
And those were those reasons you listed earlier, correct?
Yes, post birth would be a different. I would offer different criteria than before.
I'll tell you what I told Reject. There are no right or wrong answers to this stuff. The point of these questions is to be difficult and to make you introspect. I don't think it's unfair or disingenuous to ask these questions.
Definitive authoritarian answer like a lot of other people will. I honestly believe in.
I don't honestly want an authoritative answer. I don't. I want you to give me an answer that's consistent at minimum, right? But I don't expect everyone to have like the answers to these are hard questions, dude. What makes you think I have the answers to these? You can interrogate my position. I'll tell you as honestly as I can what my position is, but I don't have the answer to all this stuff. These are hard questions. I think you guys assumed that I wanted something without ever exploring it. I never demanded an authoritative answer.
No, most of the time when I hop into the discussion, it's always the same exact fucking thing. So I always point out the same exact fucking thing. Like, either you completely dismiss other people's arguments because of some one tiny little detail, which you should admit that you do.
I admit that I did it with SDA. I don't think I did that with anybody else.
And often, everybody, it's not just you when I bring up the religion thing. Everybody but Weibo, it seems, ignores that one key element, especially if you're arguing directly about the laws being passed today. A lot of them are tied to religion. Because a lot of politicians are staunchly Christian. Like, that's where a lot of these laws are coming from. Like, oh, in my beliefs that I was taught abortion is murder. Like, that's how they were raised.
Sure, and I'm betting that's SDA's frame of reference for this topic as well. Right, and I guarantee you, if I get SDA in here to ask me to justify why she thinks life begins at conception, I don't think she could do it. I really don't think she could. But I wasn't berating her before she called me a fucking retard. Like, I was asking what I think were legitimate questions.
You were wording them very hostile, therefore she took it as being hostile.
How did I word them hostile?
The way you word things is not very nice. That's what Weibo keeps trying to tell you a lot. Like, you're wording things to skew the question and words salad. Purposely or not, that is not the point here. It happens. You were very rude to SDA and other people who were just chipping in. Except Eve, because I'm pretty sure you know that shit's not going to fly with her. And so SDA, without naming you, took it to the appropriate channel. It's like, wow, this guy's a window-licking retard, which is kind of funny because it's been a while since I heard that.
You're repeating the same thing everyone else tells me, and they never give me an example. How was I wording these rudely?
Short, fucking snippy little comments. Because you were talking shit about her writing before she ever insulted you.
No, I wasn't. I was not. You can go look at the timestamps. I was not. In fact, I responded to SDA what I thought was pretty honest answer, right? She's laughing at the question, says, you think abortion is evicting a baby and I can't fucking handle it. Laugh, laugh, laugh. Okay, hun. Now, that comes across as snippy, dishonest, condescending, and bitchy. And you know what I responded with? I'll tell you what I responded with. Here's my response. Abortion is simply the aborting of a pregnancy. You can have abortions that result in live births. You usually don't because most abortions are done early in development. What is rude about that answer?
Hold on, repeat. Sorry, I got the sidetrack.
Okay, so SDA was laughing at something I said, right? In a rather condescending way. Okay, hun. I would argue SDA was being dismissive. Then I responded, abortion is simply the aborting of a pregnancy. You can have abortions that result in live births. You usually don't because most abortions are done early in development. What was rude about that response?
I can argue and say yours is very condescending because you just completely ignored what she was saying. You didn't like...
Dog, she was laughing at me. Like, what am I supposed to respond to her laughing at me?
You're constantly cutting me off. It's getting really fucking annoying.
Okay, I'm sorry. She was laughing at me. How should I have responded to her laughing at me?
She couldn't deal with the way you were phrasing shit because, honestly, the way you were phrasing it was quite ludicrous. There's several of us who were fucking laughing. We thought it was a joke.
Okay, how was it ludicrous?
I don't know. Maybe like, oh, there are abortions that can go to live births. Well, no, abortions massively mostly killing the child. There are very few children that survive abortions.
Which is what I said.
And it's never intentional.
You're literally saying the exact same thing I said. You usually don't because most abortions are done early in development. I didn't disagree with that. In fact, you responded, you do know abortions kill the child often by ripping it into pieces. I said, yes, yeah, there's different types, sometimes.
Like, that's...
In fact, I even gave you a very straightforward answer. You responded to that by saying abortion still kills the kid, which I never disagreed with. I responded, yeah, but how much of a kid that kid is debatable. My point wasn't that abortion kills the kid, but that forcing somebody to donate their body to sustain another's life is unethical. The thought experiment already assumes that life begins at conception. I was probing whether or not there was any other situation where we would agree that it's okay to force one person to incubate another. Now, what about that answer was rude and condescending?
Because to me, you're basically just ignoring, like, what if that person was consenting to be pregnant, and then all of a sudden woke up one day and decided, you know what, I don't want this kid, I'm gonna go fucking kill it. Like, that, nobody's forcing you to do anything. You willingly consented to getting pregnant in the first fucking place, and now you're regretting your decision, so you're just gonna go whack the kid.
That's a total non sequitur. Your argument was abortion still kills the kid. That's what you said. You didn't say I'm ignoring the context of people like consenting and then deciding to change their minds. You didn't say anything like that. I responded to what you said. Abortion still kills the kid. And then I responded to that. Now, how can you even say I'm dismissing anything to an argument you never even made?
You have to bring up what I think a kid starts as. You're all like, no, because so-and-so's a scientist, and they don't believe it starts at 6. But that's fucking how you always are.
I'm 100% certain I've never said that.
Before.
Wait, so who did I say was a scientist? Like, I don't recall ever saying anything like this.
A lot of the times, if somebody brings up an argument like that, like one I would actually say if I was truthfully going to put my opinion out there, you've done it before, like, but this person says this, so you're wrong. You tried to do it with Count Dankula, it didn't work.
What did I try to do with Count Dankula?
I don't remember the exact point, but you were trying to bring up some social scientist or some bullshit said something, and he was like, well, no, not at all.
Do you remember what Count Dankula and I were talking about?
I mostly remember the jokes. I really wasn't paying attention to what you said. I was paying attention to the chat because it was hilarious.
Okay.
It's not often you have thousands of people calling somebody a fucking moron.
No, it's just really aggravating that every time I get one of those people in here to substantiate why they're calling me a fucking moron, they come up with answers as empty as yours. You said this one thing. I don't remember what it was, but you said it was. You deflected a point that I never made. Like, these are your fucking answers, dude.
I mean, if you want to get all fucking sensitive about people calling you a fucking moron, I can lay it out flat, clear as fucking day.
Dog, you were the one deep throating your mic the second I got in to yell.
The mic's been at the same distance as it has been the entire time.
Okay, maybe I should say you were the one screaming into your mic the second I got in.
It's called clapping.
Okay.
Forgive me for clapping loudly.
Sure, clapping loudly. I enjoyed my conversation with Count Dankula, and Count Dankula enjoyed the conversation with me. I know Count Dankula. We have friendly back and forths all the time. I don't know if you know that I know him. Right? That wasn't.
I don't give a fuck if you know Marcus or not. Okay. That's irrelevant.
Okay. What I'm saying is, if you're trying to argue that I was being disingenuous by citing experts, by citing where I got my information from, I think you're going to have to come up with better criticism.
So are you gonna answer my question? Do you want me to lay out why I think you're a complete fucking moron?
Yeah, sure, go for it.
First of all, for starters, what a lot of people bring it up all the time in this here petty chat right here. You're a hypocrite. You're plain as day a fucking hypocrite. You sit here and complain about people insulting you, and then the moment they say something you don't even remotely like, you immediately insult them. If somebody says something in a live stream chat when you're debating a person, instead of actually debating, you'll take time out to be like, oh, hey, that person in the chat, yeah, you should eat a bullet. Or in my case, I bring up a point in the chat you don't fucking like, so you flat out try to call me a fucking white supremacist and a racist, which you tried to do earlier again.
Wait, I tried to do... When did I try to do this? Wait, I don't even remember trying to do this. When did I try to do this?
I think it was who's the guy you debated with the Electoral College and that shit with?
Hey Dude? Hey Dude 77?
I don't remember his name.
It was Hey Dude 77.
I missed the beginning. Because you tried to bring a point of Electoral College is supposed to cheat minorities out of votes or some bullshit about minorities. That's blatantly fucking false.
Whoa, hang on.
Blatantly false.
How is that blatantly false?
Because it is. Electoral
It's
college
false
has nothing
because
to do
it's
with.
false? Okay. Listen, my argument about the Electoral College cheating minorities was based on quotes from the founding fathers who said the prevalence of Negroes created a difficulty for a popular election, and electors obviated this difficulty. Right? Those were quotes from the founding fathers during the debates at the Federal Convention. So that wasn't false. You didn't know that, did you?
Yes, I did know that.
You knew the founding fathers said that
also
the point of
ignoring
electors
context.
was to obviate. Okay, what was the context? Please put the context in for me.
Like you're bringing up old fucking bullshit. You're like, oh, see, it's always been like that, and always be like that. No, these days, electoral college is to keep places like California from overruling places like I live here in Arkansas, due to sheer population numbers alone. That's what it's for. So that one ideology popular in high population places doesn't overrule everybody else that their ideology would fuck over.
Okay.
That's what it's for.
Well, it's not. I wouldn't say it's for that. I'm saying that the reason the founding fathers had it was because they didn't want to give southern states too much power in the electoral college. Right. I'm sorry. They didn't want to give northern states
power in general.
I'm sorry. They didn't want to give northern states too much power electorally. Right? Because slaves couldn't vote. I don't know if you know this. Slaves couldn't vote. So they had to figure out a way they had to figure out a way to count the votes in a way that kept the South relevant in the elections so that they would join the Union. And the best way they could do that was using electors, using an electoral system, right? So when I quote the founding fathers saying the things they say, it's because that's what they really believed at the time.
At the time, you praise.
I can only quote what they believed at the time. I don't think the founding fathers said anything about today. Do you have any quotes of the founding fathers today? Like, I see, that's retarded.
I don't know. George Washington seems to think the mumble rap's lit.
I'm quoting the records at the Federal Convention. It was the debate that was happening, right? Philadelphia, right? When they're trying to figure out what to put in the Constitution, they're debating amongst each other how and why to make the best forms of government they can, right? They list out their rationales in the debate. They list the reason they put certain things there. A lot of the Electoral College had to do with keeping the executive branch independent from the legislative and judicial branch. That was a major part of it. The most popular idea before electors was that.
I have a question.
Yeah.
When did blacks get the right to vote?
I don't know. 1865? I'm not sure.
Okay, so if you want to argue electoral college based on race, my ethnicity didn't get the right to vote until 1924.
Okay. What ethnicity are you?
I'm Native American.
Okay. I'm really sorry to hear that. I mean, I don't. You're kind of agreeing with me if you don't realize it. It was an institution to maintain white supremacy.
No, not slightly.
Then what do you do with quotes from the founding fathers that say things like that there was one difficulty presenting a. There was a difficulty with the popular vote, which is that Negroes couldn't vote. What do you do with that?
They couldn't vote. They weren't citizens. They were slaves. Slaves didn't have rights. At that point, it's literally just fact.
Right. I don't disagree with that.
Just like Native Americans weren't actually considered full citizens until 1924. Even though there's the Schneider Act, but it didn't really count.
Here's the full quote. The right of suffrage was more diffusive in the northern than the southern states, and the latter could have no influence in the election on the score of Negroes. The substitution of electors obviated this difficulty and seemed on the whole to be liable to the fewest objections. Now, my argument was that the Electoral College was founded as a white supremacist institution. It was used to maintain white supremacy. What about that do you disagree with, and why?
It didn't specifically mention whites. Like, it's the stupidest fucking thing in the world. Because at the time, white was a very relative term that didn't include a lot of people that are considered white today.
Sure.
That would also include the Irish, the Italians, the Poles.
Sure. I don't disagree
Germans,
that
Dutch.
I know. I don't disagree
Scots.
that the idea of white changed at the time. However, at the time, what they considered white was largely white Anglo-Protestant. Right? Would you agree with that?
Yeah, which was not the majority of people actually in the nation, which is why they passed that. Because
Wait, what was the majority? I'm pretty sure it was.
Actually, a vast majority, especially in places like Georgia, were Scots-Irish. They were Catholic.
Filthy
large
Catholic
majority of them are
scum.
Catholic.
Okay, so I mean,
It was to keep them out because they were actually seen lower than slaves.
wait,
Up until
could they
relatively
not
recently
vote?
as well.
I'm just confused. The right of suffrage was more diffusive in the northern and than the southern
Quit
states,
repeating
right?
the same fucking shit. I get it.
Well, you're not dealing with this quote, right? If I'm saying that this was an
I'm
institution.
dealing with your take on it.
Okay, I don't think you understand my issue. I get that what white was subjective then. That doesn't contradict with this quote or my argument. White can still be subjective, and this institution can still be used to maintain white power.
It was maintained to keep the English people of English. And I guess Welsh could technically count, I guess, as Anglo-Saxon. I'm not super sure about the Welsh. But keep them sitting pretty.
Okay.
White, and specifically white power, which is a more modern concept, believe it or not, and probably in the way you're thinking of it, often deals with Celtic and Nordic-based ideals. Wrongly based, but based.
I'm fully aware of that.
Are you sure? Because
I promise you I've forgotten more than you know.
Okay, then explain to me why I say that they're wrongly based in Celtic and Nordic culture. Go.
I have no clue why you say that. Why do you say that?
Because based on the teachings, they're false. Specifically going to Norse culture, if you want to follow the sagas, the Allfather, Odin himself, even said, all men are created equal. Like, all men are equal, it's their merit on the battlefield that sets men apart. If you're claiming to follow the teachings of the Norse, then you would follow that fundamental teaching on its own. Also the teaching of hospitality, which white supremacists do not know.
I don't think fascists necessarily know the history of what these things are.
Wait, hold on. No, you're conflating shit again. Are we talking about white supremacists or fascists? Pick one.
Okay, how about ethno-fascists? How's that?
That's better. That also doesn't assume white, because there's black ethno-fascists as well.
Are there black ethno-fascists appropriating Celtic culture?
A lot of them try. Have you ever seen Tariq Nasheed?
Tariq Nasheed appropriates Celtic culture.
He approaches every culture and tries to say it's black culture and that white people are fucking aliens and not actually human or from this world.
Okay, so what other points did you think I was disingenuous about?
Well, those are the main ones. There's only one point of me thinking you're fucking moms, you being hypocritical, which you have agreed that you often do have hypocritical tendencies.
Wait, like what?
I just fucking laid it out. This entire point of this past 30 minutes or so, I think. Lost track of time. You constantly complain about people insulting you and misrepresenting you, but you do the exact same thing to other people. And you'll flat out tell somebody to eat a bullet on a live stream and then act like a fucking victim the moment somebody says something mean to you.
I don't remember. I
assume
don't even remember this.
everybody
Like,
are
I have no
jerks.
doubt I might have done this. I don't remember this. But holy shit, you guys have just dogpiled on me the second I got to this server. I never used this server, but the second I started using it, you guys have been relentlessly riding my nuts. In fact, I outright, listen, dog, I outright asked you the second I got here what your problem was. You didn't even
I flat out told you I don't fucking like you.
Why?
That's what I'm trying to lay out.
Oh, right, because I'm a fucking moron because I told somebody on a live stream once something you disagreed with?
And you try to call me fucking racist over an opinion I had.
Wait, what?
Without knowing a single fucking thing
You're
about
just
me.
gonna throw that in there. What opinion did you have that I called you racist about? I don't recall
We
this at all.
just fucking talked about it. The whole electoral college is made to keep the black man down. No, motherfucker, it wasn't.
I never.
Like at
Listen,
what it was in its original conception, maybe, but
are
today
we
it is not.
okay, if it's in its original conception, that's what I'm talking about.
In
It
its
should be
original
fucking
conception,
obvious that
this
that's what I'm
entire
talking
country
about.
fucking
Why
fucked
the
me
fuck
over,
would I
but you're
quote?
gonna be a
Listen,
bitch about
listen,
it.
dog. Why the fuck would I quote the founding fathers if I'm not talking about its original conception? Like, are you really this retarded that you can't put two and two together? If I'm talking about
Are you really so fucking irrational that you
listen.
can't let someone
If I'm
finish?
talking about the Electoral College's original conception, I would
All
talk
you
about
do
the
is talk.
founding fathers. It seems obvious to me. So I don't recall.
Talk.
Yeah, okay.
You're gonna shut the fuck up and let me finish, or are you just gonna continue fucking interrupting and ranting like a goddamn moron?
Yeah, okay. Go for it.
Fuck. Now I feel like now I know what it feels like to go on CNN. Jesus Christ.
You whine a lot.
Listen, I don't fucking like you. As most people.
Maybe you should get a hobby instead of whining.
That's why I have a guitar and an amp right there. But I wouldn't expect you to know anything about music.
I play 4 instruments, but whatever.
Allegedly.
I guess you'll just have to take my word for it, just like I allegedly have to take your word for it that you play guitar.
I've posted my guitar in the server before.
How do I know that's you?
It's the same beat up fucking Jackson that's been in every server, including servers with people who actually do music as a job.
Cool.
It's not hard to find these people.
Are you gonna make your point? You were just whining about me talking. Make a point. Holy shit.
Now look who's sounding all whiny and sensitive like a little bitch.
Yeah, come on, dude. Just make a point.
You always call people jerks. When actuality, you're always the one that's a fucking asshole first to a majority of these people that I've noticed. Just out of nowhere, just complete fucking dick for no reason to a lot of people. That's why we make jokes like you're the server's Andy Worski. Or you're the village idiot.
Dog, you thought I was calling you racist earlier for telling you the history of the Electoral College. You're responding to microaggressions. You realize that?
And you didn't grasp the fucking point I made, which is starting to become blatantly obvious. Jesus Christ, I should have listened to Reject.
Okay, listen. Oh, you sound mad. Let's calm down, buddy. Okay. What she said was, I called you racist, and this was the insult I threw your way. I don't recall doing this at all. I searched my name looking for me to call you racist. I don't think I ever did that. I never said that.
I said it was in a live stream chat. Fucking
in a live stream chat, I called you racist?
Yes, and you also in a live stream chat told somebody while being on the show live to eat a bullet.
Who did I do this to? I don't recall this. Like, I might have done this, but exactly. When did this happen?
It was a while ago, and she still did debates.
You're still going on about something from, what, a year and a half ago? When did this happen?
Oh, okay, so let me get this straight. If you do something over a year and a half ago, it doesn't count. But if somebody else does something a year and a half ago...
I'm not bringing up anything you did a year and a half ago. I'm trying to talk about now. You're making all these points now. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm trying to look for that logic. It just doesn't seem to be anywhere. Hold on. Maybe it's in my cabinet down here. Let me look to find your logic. No,
find a chromosome down there while you're looking.
That shit like that's when nobody likes you. Like, oh, I did that long ago? Oh, that shouldn't fucking count. I don't even remember it, so it didn't happen. Man, fuck out of here.
Maybe it did happen. I'm asking. I don't. Everyone's saying this shit. I don't remember what this is talking about. What am I supposed to say about this?
Even Weave has brought it up her damn self that you said it, and you're like, I don't remember this happening. It must not have happened. Man, fuck out of here with that
what
bullshit.
I said. I'm not saying it must not have happened. In fact, I actually said the opposite just a few minutes ago, if you would pay attention. I outright said, maybe this did happen. I don't remember. What am I supposed to answer to that?
If you don't remember it, then it's like, oh, then I guess you have a will for ignorance on the situation. Or did you conveniently forgot it?
Right, which is what I'm saying. I completely forgot it. I would really like for somebody to tell me when this happened. I don't remember this. Let me ask you again. What am I supposed to say when you say this? I don't remember it. I'm sorry to whoever I said it to. Did I say it to you?
No, it wasn't to me.
Okay,
else.
I don't know
I'm
who
pretty sure I was cooking at the time, actually.
Listen, I don't know who I said this to. I'm sorry to whoever I said it to. I don't remember this. I'm not going to go out and apologize for shit I don't remember even happening. Everyone keeps bringing this up. I don't know what you're talking about.
It might have been Captain Crap. Possibly. Or Abaddon.
Okay, so this is it? Like, this is the whole justification for riding my dick as hard as you do? Is I told somebody to go.
Nobody rides your dick. We make fun
Dude,
of you.
you whine about me. Fucking, like, if I search your name and try to find responses to me, I could fill a book with it.
Book with insults, yeah. I've blatantly put out there that I will never treat you with an ounce of fucking respect. I have told Vivo this to her face. In the Quiplash room, right before you fucking joined, ask anybody in there.
You're gonna whine about me.
I will never show you a shred of respect because you do not deserve it.
Shred of respect, you do not deserve it. Okay, got it. Okay. Is there anything else you want to say, dude?
Yes, I do. I want to say that it's remarkably hilarious that you try to act like a fucking adult, but then you sit here and whine like a little fucking child when somebody's trying to talk. You consistently cut me off. You don't let me finish a point. Then you bitch, moan, and complain when I'm trying to finish a point. And you throw the shittiest insults humanly imaginable on top of racial slurs like nigger when I'm not even black. Thanks a lot for that one. That was interesting.
Word up, homie.
I've had better conversations with actual white supremacists. Thank you.
I bet you have.
I used to work in a Mexican restaurant. I had a reformed white supremacist who come out of jail come in there, and I noticed his tattoos that he covered up. And,
Good for you.
Actually turned out to be a very decent
Maybe
fellow.
you can talk about your guitar. It would probably be a fruitful conversation.
Nah, he was in prison. Yeah. Shitty tattoos. Me and people with shitty tattoos don't have a lot to talk about.
I'm sure people like you could find lots to talk about.
Obviously, I'm talking to you for almost a fucking hour.
I know. It's been entertaining.
I mean, the only reason you're still in this fucking server that people still humor you is because of Weibo. I hope you know that.
Okay, and?
Like, unlike me, your biggest the person you seem to have the biggest issue with in the server, which is good. I love that. I will strive to keep that position in your most hated list. I fucking love it. I'm kept around because I'm actually funny. Let that sink in. You make me seem funny.
Okay, is there anything else you want to get off your chest?
Yes, as I said yesterday, which you probably ignored, you can suck my dick from the back with your mama's lips.
Okay, anything other than that?
No, I would like to repeat that insult because I don't get to use it often. Oh, I will say that almost nobody likes you. I'm pretty sure your mama slapped the store that delivered to you. Now you can get the fuck on.
Okay, well, it's good chat, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Hope you have fun on your guitar. I like guitar. I also play guitar.
Yeah, going from a 6-string to a 7-string is a little bit weird, hard to get used to, but it's fun.
I imagine a lot of things are weird for you, but you'll get it, champ.
I'm sure you'll
Quick question. Wait, buddy. How old are you?
21 years old. Born November 15th, 1997, 9:30.
Oh, okay. Never mind. Yeah, I'm sorry about that, buddy.
Done now?
I was just asking questions.
Got any more?
I'm wishing you luck on your guitar. Like, I'm sure you're really good at guitar. I think I'm really good too.
I don't think you're really good at anything.
I know.
By the way, your humor needs work. You and Quiplash just don't quite go together very well.
Oh, wouldn't explain why I won one of the games, but okay.
Because the majority of the people that game didn't vote.
Oh, okay.
That's common when you play with Weibo. She forgets a lot of shit.
Okay, well, I'll take that advice under consideration. I need to be funnier so that I can humor berserker5150.
Added bully to it because you like to say I'm a bully.
Because you just bully people?
No, just you. Well, and Black Knight patriarchy, but he's gone now. He kind of called.
Seems fucked up. I think I would find something better to do with my time personally.
Black Knight patriarchy kind of deserved it. The whole picking on the transgender person and just being a relative cunt to everybody kind of makes me enjoy insulting them in creative ways. It's really easy.
So you're a cunt because other people are cunts?
Oh no, I'm just a heel. I do what heels do.
Oh, okay.
So, you done yet?
I'm just sitting here. I'm good.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I make YouTube videos and do stuff with my time. I play Subnautica, play guitar. I'm having a decent day. How are you? I mean, I got in. You seemed really distressed. You were like yelling and shit. I'm just making sure you're
I haven't yelled yet. I'm just really loud.
Oh, okay. You're just really... I think yelling is the word for being really loud.
I haven't yelled yet.
Okay, most people would say just being really loud is the same as yelling.
I can't help but have an authoritative sounding voice that seems to bother you. I'm sorry. I won't change it. I don't quite know how.
Okay.
I mean, I work retail. I kind of have to be loud all the time.
Of course you work retail. Oh, wait. No, I'm sorry. You're like a child. I forgot. I'm sorry.
I don't mind working retail, small town. You learn some funny shit from little old ladies. It's just not being an asshole at all. Little old ladies have some of the best
are the
goddamn
only people
jokes.
you learn shit from.
No. I mean,
Well,
being
listen,
a
buddy.
minority and all, I kind of learned a lot.
Being a minority. Well, I wish you luck in your retail career, my dude.
And I wish you luck on your failing YouTube career.
It seems to be going well.
You say so.
I don't really concern myself with subs. I make videos because it's fun. Okay, well,
Cool, I guess.
berserker5150, peace, love, and rock and roll. You have a good day. Go play some guitar, buddy. You can do it, champ.